Welcome back to SBR Forum Videos. The NFC West should once again be one of the better divisions in football. However, the sportsbook has spoken, and it looks like we do have a clear favorite, and of course is none other than the Seattle Seahawks, who come in at -225 to win this division. Obviously, a really big favorite to go double-digit wins again and get back to the NFC title game, potentially even the Super Bowl. And of course, they had one of the biggest offseason additions of any team, adding Jimmy Graham to that tight end slot, go along with already a very, very good offense. He should be one of Russell Wilson's favorite targets. However, of course, Russell Wilson is still in a contract dispute with the Seattle Seahawks, and they've put a deadline to training camp in a couple of weeks to get that contract resolution here taken care of. I think they'll get it done, but it has been one of the biggest stories for this team this entire offseason. But taking a look at their schedule, still going to be a very, very tough road for the Seattle Seahawks coming into 2015. The division is still going to be a formidable foe in those 5 games, and they have some tough games outside of that as well. Of course, they're also dealing with a Michael Bennett potentially holding out as well, but I think everything will be solved for this team. Compared to the other teams in the division, they have very, very minimal problems, and I think the schedule will take care of itself and itself. I think the Seattle Seahawks good for at least 10 or 11 wins this season. Probably an easy bet to win this division. A lot of chalk, though, however, so up to you whether or not you want to take a risk like that at -225. Next up is the Arizona Cardinals, who come in at 4-1 to win this division. Of course, they were cruising last season. Looked like they were going to upset the Seattle Seahawks when they were 9-1 before Carson Palmer went down with his injury. Of course, that really derailed this team and set them back a ton. Now, of course, in the offseason, they lost their defensive coordinator, which could also be a big setback. But if their new defensive coordinator can come in and at least hold down the fort, and Carson Palmer's knee is healthy, this team is still going to be a playoff contender. Even at 4-1, not quite ready to bet them to win their division, but they did lose a couple of defensive veterans, but they added a lot of veterans as well on both sides of the ball. They added Mikey Iupati, Lamar Woodley, Corey Redding, Sean Witherspoon, and Corey Peters. So a lot of good additions for this club. I think they're still going to threaten for a playoff spot. 9, maybe 10 wins is a pretty good estimate for this club, but it all really boils down to whether or not Carson Palmer's knee is ready to roll. Of course, next up is the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of talk about them this offseason of all the things that they've done. Loss of head coach, lost a couple of guys to retirement. Chris Borland, Patrick Willis, Justin Smith, all gone. Of course, they lost their starting corners from last year in Culliver and Cox, but even though their defense should be taking a little bit of a downturn from the 13th rank they were in 2014, I still think they're probably an 8-win football team, which at least would be solid. Probably not playoff worthy, but definitely there won't be nobody's going to be able to steamroll this team, even though a lot of people predicting them for only 5 or 6 wins this season. But I think with all the turnover they've had on defense, likely not going to be a solid season for the San Francisco 49ers. Finally, the St. Louis Rams also come in at 8-1, a team I'm actually kind of high on this season. Could, I think, finish better than the San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to run the ball like hell this season. And the addition of Nick Foles also going to be an incredible add for this club here on offense to improve that 20th ranked rushing offense and 23rd ranked offense from last season. Nick Fairley's also added to give them a little bit of depth on the defensive line, already deep defensive line, and with Foles' weapons here this offseason, I think he could have a solid 2015. Of course, Kenny Britt re-signed, still have Cook at tight end, Tavon Austin and Brian Quick as well, will be very good young receivers, so it all really depends on what they can do in the running game, I think, to set up that passing game, because we know the defensive pass rush is going to be solid. I think the defense overall going to be very, very good as well. But that'll do it for me this time to take a look at the NFC West. Make sure you check out some of our individual team previews for all the NFC teams. But until next time, for SBR Forum Videos, I'm Jordan Sharp.